It's my birthday! So I am painting some birthday art. I used to do this like every other year and I am doing that again. So I thought I would record the process and talk about how I paint in an anime style. If you watched my videos before, I do a more painterly style. I shade in grayscale, but this time I'm going to show you how I paint in more of a clean, cel-shaded-y, anime-esque style with a line art layer. So here I am just doing my sketch. This is my mascot, Namu. So she's a cute, fashionable demon girl, and I'm painting her in a more girly, Barbie-like party dress. So I wanted it to be super cute and frilly with a transparent or translucent sort of overskirt and a big bow, and I'm putting on still her accessories with her piercings and her little like heart necklace thing, the same kind of hairstyle with the pigtails, but something party-fied. So this is how I sketch. I use just a chalk textured round brush, and I'm fairly loose because I'm going to do a line art layer. I flip the canvas here just to make sure everything looks normal and nice. I wanted her to have a cute pose and her outfit to be kind of symmetrical, and I wanted her to hold a birthday cake or just a cute cake here. And I've put in some balloons, some ones that are like translucent and have hearts in the middle. Here I'm starting my line art. If you've seen my videos before, I actually came out with a line art video, how I do line art. So that goes into detail with how I make my line art a bit more cleaner and how I make it look better or just as good as the sketch. I think that's something a lot of people who like drawing in an anime style struggle with, their line art looking worse than the sketch. So that video is all about a bit of a deeper dive into how I make my line art look nice. So I have two line art brushes that I use for this, but I focus on a soft line art brush, which is available for free on my website if you want to use my brush. And I also use the pen tool for segments such as the balloons, because freehanding the balloons to do the line art is a little bit, not impossible, but a little bit tricky. So I use the pen tool. And I also used the ellipse tool, and like if you use the ellipse tool and then go right click and stroke path to do the dish, the plate that she's holding there. That was the ellipse tool. Yeah, so here I'm just doing the hair. Honestly, I recommend you go watch my line art video to see a deeper dive in how I do this. I fix up my line art here with the warp tool sometimes. I also, a very important tip, I hide my sketch layer frequently to make sure it's looking nice and looking correct. I also hide my line art layer and compare it with the sketch. So, you know, if my line art layer starts to look uglier than the sketch, I take my time and go through to see, you know, what is making it ugly. Is it her eyes? Is it her expression? Is it her finger width? You know, where am I messing up here? So here I go back and do the sketch of the cake before line arting it. Yeah, I just fix it up a little bit here. Oh, here you can see I use the pen tool to line the balloons because freehanding them is just, you know, a pain. Okay, so here I'm moving on to the color. Basically, I used the lasso tool and the magic wand to select segments and do the base colors. You can see I've actually got a color reference in the top right here. It's another picture I've done of Namu previously. Just to get the base colors on, you can use a palette, or what I do is I just put an image in the canvas and use the eyedropper tool to color pick. I'm doing the base colors for the cake. I've also done a video on how I paint anime food, or how I do food in my style. You can check that out to see how I paint food. And here I color my light art. So I go ahead and I lock the transparency and then color the area just a darker color than the base color layer. Here I'm moving into doing the shading. So when I paint in the style, I don't use any blend modes. You can do a multiply layer or an overlay layer, but I just go straight into a new layer and the blend mode is just set to normal. I color pick here from my existing color reference, and I use a rectangular shaped chalk brush and an airbrush to paint the skin here, or the shading. So I try to go as dark as possible for the darkest areas because I like high contrast. So here I'm going in and doing her eyes. I am referencing my existing artwork with how the eyes are laid down, with a shadow, with a pupil layer, with some extra details. There's a little bit of pink in the middle there. If you're new to doing anime style, I highly recommend checking out Pinterest for inspiration. Anime eyes come in so many different styles. It can be really fun to experiment. Here I I'm painting the folds of the dress, the non-translucent part. I just eyeballed this. I really should have had a clothing reference. You can find so much good reference on Pinterest, but I just eyeballed it and it took ages because I can't come up with clothing folds out of my mind. My brain's not very good at that, but I think it turned out kind of cute. And we haven't done the highlights yet, so this is just for the shadows. Same as with the bow, I just eyeballed it and, you know, just did what I think a bow looks like in my brain. And here I'm just adding, I started to add the highlights because she started to look freaky, like, without having highlights in her eyes. So I was like, let me just add the highlights right away here, even though I'm not done with the shading. So yes, I also started to do the highlights on the skin because I just wanted to see how a fully rendered portion would look. I haven't started the shadows on the hair yet, but I was getting impatient and I just wanted to put highlights on her skin. So that's what I went and did there. Here I'm continuing my shading. So on the skirt I had the shading, on the pearl bracelet, and on her necklace here. Again, this is just with my rectangular shaped chalk brush. It's nothing fancy, no fancy brushes here. Same as with the balloons, but I think with the balloons I used an airbrush because they're more rounded. So here I'm finally doing the shading on the hair. I use the rectangular brush again to shade in the hair, and I'm color picking from my reference. Here I'm doing it on her hair bows as well, the shading, and the shading on her inner pigtails. She's got like a peekaboo blue color on her pigtails, so I try to make them nice and contrasted. So here on the overskirt that is translucent, I am adding like a highlight kind of. to try and give that like translucent look. And on the bow, I tried to give it like a satiny look and highlight it in that way. Same as with all of the other details, I'm adding my highlights, the plate as well. I definitely use a reference for the plate because I don't know how a plate looks from my brain. The balloons as well, definitely. Never painted a balloon in my life, so I tried it to make it look like how a balloon would reflect. It's a little bit tricky because there's not really a background and the background is white. So that was kind of hard to make it look like a balloon and not like a crystal ball or something. Here I'm going in with the cake and coloring the cake. Again, I've got a video of how I do this, but basically I just had my food reference, I had a style reference, and I just go in and try to make it look delicious and exaggerated. It's not hyper realistic, it's more cartoony and stylized to match my character. Here I'm just adding some details here for the kiwi fruit and for the melon, and the highlights on the strawberries. It's like super stylized, super shiny to make it look just more exaggerated. I always add like water droplets on fruit to make it look juicy and nice. So I'm adding those on here. And adding some highlights as well. And I always add sparkles on food. I just think it looks nice. And I also add some sparkles on the translucent skirt. And I gave the translucent skirt a similar gradient as her hair. That was like just by accident, but then I thought it looked nice for depth. And here you can see that I am finished. So you can see I added off camera some confetti. To add this confetti, I made a custom brush using the rectangular marquee tool, and I made a slanted rectangle. And in my brush settings, I added some shape dynamics, added some scattering, and added some color dynamics with some hue jitter. So that just means that as I paint the brush, we have variation of colors happening, we have variation of angle, and we have variation of size, so I can paint a cluster of confetti without having to go one at a time, painting it by hand or copying and pasting it and rotating the confetti. It's just a quick little trick. And I also added some bats in the background, just some bat details that it would look cute. So what do you think? Is she giving party, girly, cute birthday? I hope so, and I hope you like this video. I'm a little bit stuck on whether or not I should be just narrating what I'm doing or explaining the why behind what I'm doing. It's really easy to narrate, but it takes a little bit more thinking power to talk about the reason behind I do the things that I do. But yeah, I hope you like this. And because it's my birthday, I'm having a special birthday code, my first ever promotional code on my website. I have restocked some items. I've got a new print out. So please use the code birthday for 20% off my website, all of my stuff. So check it out if you're interested. And thank you so much for watching.